Twitter is a microblogging and social networking service owned by American company Twitter, Inc., on which users post and interact with messages known as tweets. Registered users can post, like, and retweet tweets, while unregistered users only have a limited ability to read public tweets. Users interact with Twitter through browser or mobile front-end software, or programmatically via its APIs. Prior to April 2020, services were accessible via SMS. Tweets were originally restricted to 140 characters, but the limit was doubled to 280 for non-CJK languages in November 2017. Audio and video tweets remain limited to 140 seconds for most accounts. Twitter was created by Jack Dorsey, Noah Glass, Biz Stone, and Evan Williams in March 2006 and launched in July of that year. Twitter, Inc. is based in San Francisco, California, and has more than 25 offices around the world. By 2012, more than 100 million users posted 340 million tweets a day, and the service handled an average of 1.6 billion search queries per day. In 2013, it was one of the 10 most visited websites and has been described as the SMS of the Internet. By the start of 2019, Twitter had more than 330 million monthly active users. In practice, the vast majority of tweets are written by a minority of users. On April 25, 2022, the Twitter board of directors agreed to a $44 billion buyout by Elon Musk, making it one of the biggest deals to take a company private. After a protracted period of controversy and legal battles, the deal closed on October 27. History: 2006–2007, creation and initial reaction. Twitter's origins lie in a day-long brainstorming session held by board members of the podcasting company Odeo. Jack Dorsey, then an undergraduate student at New York University, introduced the idea of an individual using an SMS service to communicate with a small group. The original project code name for the service was TWTTR, the disemboweled version of the word Twitter, an idea that Williams later ascribed to Noah Glass, inspired by Flickr and the 5-character length of American SMS short codes. The decision was also partly due to the fact that the domain twitter.com was already in use, and it was 6 months after the launch of TWTTR that the crew purchased the domain and changed the name of the service to Twitter. The developers initially considered 10,958 as the service's short code for SMS text messaging, but later changed it to 40,404 for ease of use and memorability. Work on the project started on March 21, 2006, when Dorsey published the first Twitter message at 12:50 p.m. PST, "Just setting up my TWTTR." Dorsey has explained the origin of the Twitter title. "We came across the word Twitter, and it was just perfect. The definition was a short burst of inconsequential information, and chirps from birds. And that's exactly what the product was." The first Twitter prototype, developed by Dorsey and contractor Florian Weber, was used as an internal service for Odeo employees. The full version was introduced publicly on July 15, 2006. In October 2006, Biz Stone, Evan Williams, Dorsey, and other members of Odeo formed Obvious Corporation and acquired Odeo, together with its assets including Odo.com and Twitter.com from the investors and shareholders. Williams fired Glass, who was silent about his part in Twitter's startup until 2011. Twitter spun off into its own company in April 2007. Williams provided insight into the ambiguity that defined this early period in a 2013 interview. With Twitter, it wasn't clear what it was. They called it a social network, they called it microblogging, but it was hard to define, because it didn't replace anything. There was this path of discovery with something like that, where over time you figure out what it is. Twitter actually changed from what we thought it was in the beginning, which we described as status updates and a social utility. It is that, in part, but the insight we eventually came to was Twitter was really more of an information network than it is a social network. 2007–2010. The tipping point for Twitter's popularity was the 2007 South by Southwest Interactive Conference. During the event, Twitter usage increased from 20,000 tweets per day to 60,000. The Twitter people cleverly placed two 60-inch plasma screens in the conference hallways, exclusively streaming Twitter messages, remarked Newsweek's Stephen Levy. Hundreds of conference goers kept tabs on each other via constant Twitters. Panelists and speakers mentioned the service, and the bloggers in attendance touted it. Reaction at the conference was highly positive. Blogger Scott Bale said that Twitter was absolutely ruling SXSWI. Social software researcher Dana Boyd said Twitter was owning the conference. Twitter staff received the festival's Web Award prize with the remark, "We'd like to thank you," in 140 characters or less. And we just did. The company experienced rapid initial growth. It had 400,000 tweets posted per quarter in 2007. This grew to 100 million tweets posted per quarter in 2008. In February 2010, Twitter users were sending 50 million tweets per day. In 2009, Twitter won the Breakout of the Year Webby Award. On November 29, 2009, Twitter was named the Word of the Year by the Global Language Monitor, declaring it a new form of social interaction. By March 2010, the company recorded over 70,000 registered applications. As of June 2010, about 65 million tweets were posted each day, equaling about 750 tweets sent each second, according to Twitter. As of March 2011, that was about 140 million tweets posted daily. As noted on Compete.com, Twitter moved up to the third highest ranking social networking site in January 2009 from its previous rank of 22nd. Twitter's usage spikes during prominent events. For example, a record was set during the 2010 FIFA World Cup when fans wrote 2,940 tweets per second in the 30-second period after Japan scored against Cameroon on June 14, 2010. The record was broken again when 3,085 tweets per second were posted after the Los Angeles Lakers' victory in the 2010 NBA Finals on June 17, 2010. And then again at the close of Japan's victory over Denmark in the World Cup when users published 3,283 tweets per second. The record was set again during the 2011 FIFA Women's World Cup final between Japan and the United States, when 7,196 tweets per second were published. When American singer Michael Jackson died on June 25, 2009, Twitter servers crashed after users were updating their status to include the words Michael Jackson at a rate of 100,000 tweets per hour. The current record as of August 3, 2013, was set in Japan, with 143,199 tweets per second during a television screening of the movie Castle in the Sky. The first unassisted off-Earth Twitter message was posted from the International Space Station by NASA astronaut T.J. Creamer on January 22, 2010. By late November 2010, an average of a dozen updates per day were posted on the astronaut's communal account, at NASA_astronauts. NASA has also hosted over 25 tweet-ups, events that provide guests with VIP access to NASA facilities and speakers with the goal of leveraging participants' social networks to further the outreach goals of NASA. In August 2010, the company appointed Adam Bain from News Corp's Fox Audience Network as president of Revenue. Twitter acquired application developer Atibits on April 11, 2010. Atibits had developed the Apple Design Award-winning Twitter client Tweety for the Mac and iPhone. The application, now called Twitter and distributed free of charge, is the official Twitter client for the iPhone, iPad, and Mac. 2010-2014. From September through October 2010, the company began rolling out new Twitter, an entirely revamped edition of Twitter.com. Changes included the ability to see pictures and videos without leaving Twitter itself by clicking on individual tweets which contain links to images and clips from a variety of supported websites, including YouTube and Flickr, and a complete overhaul of the interface, which shifted links such as @mentions and retweets above the Twitter stream, while messages and logout became accessible via a black bar at the very top of Twitter.com. As of November 1, 2010, the company confirmed that the new Twitter experience had been rolled out to all users. In 2019, Twitter was announced to be the 10th most downloaded mobile app of the decade, from 2010 to 2019. On April 5, 2011, Twitter tested a new homepage and phased out the old Twitter. However, a glitch came about after the page was launched, so the previous retro homepage was still in use until the issues were resolved. The new homepage was reintroduced on April 20. On December 8, 2011, Twitter overhauled its website once more to feature the Fly design, which the service says is easier for new users to follow and promotes advertising. In addition to the Home tab, the Connect and Discover tabs were introduced along with a redesigned profile and timeline of tweets. The site's layout has been compared to that of Facebook. On February 21, 2012, it was announced that Twitter and Yandex agreed to a partnership. Yandex, a Russian search engine, finds value within the partnership due to Twitter's real-time news feeds. Twitter's Director of Business Development explained that it is important to have Twitter content where Twitter users go. On March 21, 2012, Twitter celebrated its 6th birthday while also announcing that it had 140 million users and 340 million tweets per day. The number of users was up 40% from their September 2011 number, which was said to have been at 100 million at the time. On June 5, 2012, a modified logo was unveiled through the company blog, removing the text to showcase the slightly redesigned bird as the sole symbol of Twitter. On December 18, 2012, Twitter announced it had surpassed 200 million monthly active users. Twitter hit 100 million monthly active users in September 2011. On January 28, 2013, Twitter acquired Crashlytics in order to build out its mobile developer products. On April 18, 2013, Twitter launched a music app called Twitter Music for the iPhone. On August 28, 2013, Twitter acquired Trendrunner, followed by the acquisition of MoPub on September 9, 2013. As of September 2013, the company's data showed that 200 million users sent over 400 million tweets daily, with nearly 60% of tweets sent from mobile devices. During Super Bowl Slay on February 3, 2013, the power went out in the Mercedes Superdome. Mondelez International Vice President Lisa Mann was asked to tweet, "You can still dunk in the dark," referring to Oreo cookies. She approved, and as she told Ad Age in 2020, "Literally the world changed when I woke up the next morning." This became a milestone in the development of commenting daily on culture. 2014-2020. In April 2014, Twitter underwent a redesign that made the site resemble Facebook somewhat, with profile picture and biography in a column left to the timeline, and a full-width header image with parallax scrolling effect. That layout was used as main for the desktop front end until July 2019, undergoing changes over time such as removal of shortcut buttons to jump to the previous or next tweet in early 2017, and rounded profile pictures since June 2017. In April 2015, the Twitter.com desktop homepage changed. Later in the year it became apparent that growth had slowed, according to Fortune, Business Insider, Marketing Land, and other news websites including Quartz. Since May 2018, tweet replies deemed by an algorithm to be detractive from conversation are initially hidden, and only loaded through actuating a Show More Replies button at the bottom. In 2019, Twitter released another redesign of its user interface and ended support for TLS 1.0 and 1.1 connections. 2020-2022. Twitter experienced considerable growth in 2020, possibly due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The platform also was increasingly used for misinformation related to the pandemic. Twitter announced in March 2020 that it would start marking tweets which may contain misleading information. In some cases it will provide links to pages of fact-checking information. On June 1, 2020, Twitter deactivated the legacy desktop front end of their website that had originally been introduced in 2014, leaving the progressive web app version which was originally introduced in April 2017 as Twitter Lite for mobile phones and used by default since July 2019 as the only option. In November 2020, Twitter announced that it would develop a social audio feature on its platform. Later, in December 2020, Twitter began beta testing its social audio feature known as Spaces with iOS users on their platform. M2 Mobile Web, the original mobile web front-end of Twitter, later served as fallback legacy version to clients without JavaScript support and incompatible browsers such as game consoles with limited web browsing capability. It was shut down in December 2020. After U.S. President Donald Trump had used his Twitter account on May 26, 2020, to issue a statement related to possible fraud associated with mail-in voting ahead of the upcoming 2020 primary elections. Twitter moderators marked Trump's tweets as potentially misleading and added links to a dedicated page with additional articles from other news sources on mail-in voting, the first time they had marked Trump's tweets as such. Trump, who had previously alleged Twitter, and other technology companies, have an anti-conservative bias, announced his intention to enact regulations to take action against Twitter. 2 days later, on May 28, 2020, Trump signed executive order on preventing online censorship aimed to impact the protections of Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which Twitter and other social media sites have to avoid liability for dealing with moderation of user content on their platforms. Twitter was among the platforms associated with the storming of the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021. According to the Associated Press, federal law enforcement authorities said that there was activity on Twitter, but that they weren't expecting the level of violence they ultimately saw last Wednesday. This led to Trump being suspended from Twitter for glorifying violence, among other reasons such as false allegations of election fraud. According to researcher Shannon McGregor, Twitter's permanent suspension of Trump's Twitter account is long overdue. However, among conservatives and some European leaders, a degree of controversy ensued over the power held by a private company over speech. Nathan Ackhurst of Jacobin magazine suggested that Twitter profited from Donald Trump's racist outbursts for years, only to delete his account a few days before his departure. In March 2021, Twitter started beta testing Spaces for Android users. On March 5, it was announced that Twitter was working on a feature that would offer users a short window of time to rethink a tweet after they hit send. Twitter confirmed to CNN that it is testing an undo option that could potentially let users correct or even to retract a tweet before it is posted on the site. On May 3, 2021, Twitter Spaces was released globally. In 2021, Twitter announced an open-source initiative that could be used by any social media platform and would make content moderation more transparent with a more robust appeals process. Called Bluesky, the use of such an open protocol would relieve companies of the sole responsibility for being centralized curators of content. The Twitter research team that began work on this effort was set up in late 2019. On June 5, the Nigerian government issued an indefinite ban on Twitter usage in the country after the platform removed tweets made by the Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari. The company claimed the tweets violated its policies against abusive behavior. Twitter called the ban deeply concerning. Several human rights organizations, including Amnesty International and the local Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, spoke out against the ban as well. The Nigerian government stated that the ban was not based solely on the removal of the tweets and was a result of a litany of problems with the social media platform in Nigeria, where misinformation and fake news spread through it have had real-world violent consequences. In June 2021, Twitter announced the beta rollout of its Super Follows feature. A group of users will be allowed to charge followers monthly for access to extra content, not available in their regular feed. The company also launched the Ticketed Spaces program in beta, a premium version of its Audio Room feature Spaces, which makes access to certain audio rooms paid. Twitter rolled out changes in the interface on August 11, 2021. Among adjustments in color uses, the major change was converting to their new Chirp font, designed to allow left alignment of most Western languages as to make browsing of tweets easier to follow. In October 21, 2021, report based on a long-running, massive-scale randomized experiment that analyzed millions of tweets sent between April 1 and August 15, 2020, found that Twitter's machine learning algorithm amplified right-leaning politics on personalized user home timelines, won the report. Compared 7 countries with active Twitter users where data was available: Germany, Canada, the United Kingdom, Japan, France, and Spain, and examined tweets from major political groups and politicians. 4 researchers used the 2019 Chapel Hill Expert Survey to position parties on political ideology within each country. For the machine learning algorithms introduced by Twitter in 2016 personalized 99% of users' feeds by displaying tweets, even older tweets and retweets from accounts the user had not directly followed but that the algorithm had deemed relevant to the user's past preferences. For Twitter randomly chose 1% of users whose home timelines displayed content in reverse chronological order from users they directly followed. 2 In May 2022, Twitter agreed to pay $150 million to settle a lawsuit started by the Department of Justice and the Federal Trade Commission. The lawsuit concerned Twitter's use of email addresses and phone numbers of Twitter users to target advertisements at them. The company also agreed to third-party audits of its data privacy program. In June 2022, it was announced that Twitter had formed a partnership agreement with Shopify, a Canadian e-commerce company. Through the partnership, Twitter stated it would launch a sales channel app for U.S. Shopify merchants. 2022 present. Acquisition by Elon Musk. Whistleblower complaint. Appearance and features. Tweets. Tweets are publicly visible by default, but senders can restrict message delivery to only their followers. Users can mute users they do not wish to interact with, block accounts from viewing their tweets, and remove accounts from their followers list. Users can tweet via the Twitter website, compatible external applications, or by short message service available in certain countries. Users may subscribe to other users' tweets. This is known as following, and subscribers are known as followers or tweeps, a portmanteau of Twitter and peeps. Individual tweets can be forwarded by other users to their own feed, a process known as a retweet. In 2015, Twitter launched Quote Tweet, a feature that allows users to add a comment to their retweet, nesting one tweet in the other. Users can also like individual tweets. The counters for likes, retweets, and replies appear next to the respective buttons in timelines such as on profile pages and search results. Counters for likes and retweets exist on a tweet's standalone page too. Since September 2020, quote tweets, formerly known as retweet with comment, have their own counter on their tweet page. Until the legacy desktop front-end that was discontinued in 2020, a row with miniature profile pictures of up to 10 liking or retweeting users was displayed, as well as a tweet reply counter next to the according button on a tweet's page. Twitter allows users to update their profile via their mobile phone either by text messaging or by apps released for certain smartphones and tablets. Twitter has been compared to a web-based internet relay chat client. In a 2009 Time magazine essay, technology author Stephen Johnson described the basic mechanics of Twitter as remarkably simple. As a social network, Twitter revolves around the principle of followers. When you choose to follow another Twitter user, that user's tweets appear in reverse chronological order on your main Twitter page. If you follow 20 people, you'll see a mix of tweets scrolling down the page: breakfast cereal updates, interesting new links, music recommendations, even musings on the future of education. Twitter announced in a tweet on September 1, 2022, that the ability to edit a tweet was being tested for a few users. The company said the feature was being tested first to determine whether it could be abused. Editing would be allowed for 30 minutes, and previous versions of an edited post would be available. Eventually, all Twitter Blue subscribers would be able to use the feature. Hashtags, usernames, retweets and replies. Using SMS. Character limits. URL shortener. Integrated photo sharing service. Polls. Non-tweet content. Streaming video. Spaces. Fleets. Curation. Trending topics. Lists. Moments. Mobile. Twitter has mobile apps for iPhone, iPad, Android, Windows 10, Windows Phone, BlackBerry, and Nokia S40. In April 2017, Twitter introduced Twitter Lite, a progressive web app designed for regions with unreliable and slow internet connections, with a size of less than 1 megabyte, designed for devices with limited storage capacity. Adding and following content. There are numerous tools for adding content, monitoring content, and conversations, including Twitter's own TweetDeck, Salesforce.com, Hootsuite, and TwitterFeed.com. As of 2009, fewer than half of tweets posted were posted using the web user interface, with most users using third-party applications. Twitter Blue. On June 3, 2021, Twitter announced a paid subscription service known as Twitter Blue, which provides additional premium features to the service. Undo tweet, which delays the posting of a tweet by up to 1 minute to allow the submitter to withdraw it before it is posted. Bookmarks, which allows users to save individual tweets into folders. Reader mode, which converts threads of tweets into an article-like view. A selection of color themes and app icons for the Twitter mobile app. Dedicated customer support. NFT profile pictures, added on January 20, 2022. They are displayed in a hexagon-shaped frame, rather than circular like other profile pictures. A planned edit feature for tweets was in development as of April 2022. Customization of the navigation bar. The Twitter Blue service was initially released in Australia and Canada on the day of the announcement. It was then launched for US and New Zealand users 5 months later on November 9, 2021. User monetization. In June 2021, the company opened applications for its premium subscription options called Super Follows. This lets eligible accounts charge $2.99, $4.99 or $9.99 per month to subscribe to the account. The launch only generated about $6,000 in its first 2 weeks. In May 2021, Twitter began testing a tip jar feature on its iOS and Android clients. The feature allows users to send monetary tips to certain accounts, providing a financial incentive for content creators on the platform. The tip jar is optional and users can choose whether or not to enable tips for their account. On September 23, 2021, Twitter announced that it will allow users to tip users on the social network with Bitcoin. The feature will be available for iOS users. Previously, users could tip with fiat currency using services such as Square's Cash App and PayPal's Venmo. Twitter will integrate the Strike Bitcoin Lightning Wallet service. It was noted that at this current time, Twitter will not take a cut of any money sent through the tips feature. On August 27, 2021, Twitter rolled out ticketed spaces, which let Twitter Spaces hosts charge between $1 and $999 for access to their rooms. In April 2022, Twitter announced that it will partner with Stripe Inc. for piloting cryptocurrency payouts for limited users in the platform. Eligible users of ticketed spaces and super follows will be able to receive their earnings in the form of USD coin, a stablecoin whose value is that of the US dollar. Users can also hold their earnings in crypto wallets, and then exchange them into other cryptocurrencies. E-commerce. In July 2021, Twitter launched a test of the Shop module, a shopping extension that directs customers to a brand's products from its official Twitter account. The feature initially launched for US-based users only and only on iOS. In March 2022, Twitter expanded the test to allow companies to showcase up to 50 products on their profiles. On November 22, 2021, Twitter announced live shopping feature on its platform. Walmart will be the first retailer to test Twitter's new livestream shopping platform. The company stated that it is part of their continuing efforts to bring engaging experiences to customers that allow them to shop seamlessly while also being entertained. Usage. Daily user estimates vary as the company does not publish statistics on active accounts. A February 2009 Compete.com blog entry ranked Twitter as the third most used social network based on their count of 6 million unique monthly visitors and 55 million monthly visits. An April 2017 Statista.com blog entry ranked Twitter as the 10th most used social network based on their count of 319 million monthly visitors. Its global user base in 2017 was 328 million. Demographics. In 2009, Twitter was mainly used by older adults who might not have used other social sites before Twitter, said Jeremiah O. Yang, an industry analyst studying social media. Adults are just catching up to what teens have been doing for years, he said. According to Comscore, only 11% of Twitter's users are aged 12 to 17. Comscore attributed this to Twitter's early adopter period when the social network first gained popularity in business settings and news outlets attracting primarily older users. However, Comscore also stated in 2009 that Twitter had begun to filter more into the mainstream, and along with it came a culture of celebrity as Shaq, Britney Spears and Ashton Kutcher joined the ranks of the Twitterati. According to a study by Sysomus in June 2009, women make up a slightly larger Twitter demographic than men, 53% over 47%. It also stated that 5% of users accounted for 75% of all activity and that New York City has more Twitter users than other cities. According to Chwancast, 27 million people in the U.S. used Twitter as of September 3, 2009. 63% of Twitter users are under 35 years old, 60% of Twitter users are Caucasian, but a higher than average are African American/Black and Hispanic. 58% of Twitter users have a total household income of at least $60,000. The prevalence of African American Twitter usage and in many popular hashtags has been the subject of research studies. On September 7, 2011, Twitter announced that it had 100 million active users logging in at least once a month and 50 million active users every day. On March 31, 2014, Twitter announced that there were 255 million monthly active users and 198 million mobile mouse. In 2013, there were over 100 million users actively using Twitter daily and about 500 million tweets every day, with about 29% of users checking Twitter multiple times a day. As of Q1 2019, Twitter had more than 330 million monthly active users. The majority of Twitter users skew to the American political left. In 2012, the country with the most active users on Twitter was the United States. A 2016 Pew Research poll found that Twitter is used by 24% of all online U.S. adults. It was equally popular with men and women, but more popular with younger generations. A 2019 survey conducted by the Pew Foundation found that Twitter users are more likely than the general public to have both a college degree and higher income than the average U.S. adult. Users are also 3 times as likely to be younger than 50 years old, with the median age of adult U.S. users being 40 years old. The survey found that 10% of users who are most active on Twitter are responsible for 80% of all tweets, focusing mainly on the topics of politics and women. Content. San Antonio-based market research firm Pear Analytics analyzed 2,000 tweets over a 2-week period in August 2009 from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. and separated them into 6 categories. Pointless babble made up 40%, with 38% being conversational. Pass-along value had 9%, self-promotion 6% with spam and news each making 4%. Despite Jack Dorsey's own open contention that a message on Twitter is a short burst of inconsequential information, social networking researcher Dana Boyd responded to the Pear Analytics survey by arguing that what the Pear researchers labeled pointless babble is better characterized as social grooming or peripheral awareness. Similarly, a survey of Twitter users found that a more specific social role of passing along messages that include a hyperlink is an expectation of reciprocal linking by followers. Levels of use. According to research published in April 2014, around 44% of user accounts have never tweeted. About 22% of Americans say they have ever used Twitter, according to a 2019 Pew Research Center survey. In 2009, Nielsen Online reported that Twitter had a user retention rate of 40%. Many people stop using the service after a month, therefore the site may potentially reach only about 10% of all Internet users. Noting how demographics of Twitter users differ from the average Americans, commentators have cautioned against media narratives that treat Twitter as representative of the population, adding that only 10% of users tweet actively, and that 90% of Twitter users have tweeted no more than twice. In 2016, shareholders sued Twitter, alleging it artificially inflated its stock price by misleading them about user engagement. The company announced on September 20, 2021, that it would pay $809.5 million to settle this class action lawsuit. Branding. Twitter has become internationally identifiable by its signature bird logo, or the Twitter bird. The original logo, which was simply the word Twitter, was in use from its launch in March 2006. It was accompanied by an image of a bird which was later discovered to be a piece of clip art created by the British graphic designer Simon Oxley. A new logo had to be redesigned by founder Biz Stone with help from designer Philip Pascazzo, which resulted in a more cartoon-like bird in 2009. This version had been named Larry the Bird after Larry Bird of the NBA's Boston Celtics fame. Within a year, the Larry the Bird logo underwent a redesign by Stone and Pascazzo to eliminate the cartoon features, leaving a solid silhouette of Larry the Bird that was used from 2010 through 2012. In 2012, Douglas Bowman created a further simplified version of Larry the Bird, keeping the solid silhouette but making it more similar to a mountain bluebird. This new logo was called simply the Twitter bird and has been used as the company's branding since. Finances. Revenue sources. On April 13, 2010, Twitter announced plans to offer paid advertising for companies that would be able to purchase promoted tweets to appear in selective search results on the Twitter website, similar to Google AdWords advertising model. Users' photos can generate royalty-free revenue for Twitter, and an agreement with World Entertainment News Network was announced in May 2011. Twitter generated an estimated $139.5 million in advertising sales during 2011. In June 2011, Twitter announced that it would offer small businesses a self-service advertising system. The self-service advertising platform was launched in March 2012 to American Express card members and merchants in the U.S. on an invite-only basis. To continue their advertising campaign, Twitter announced on March 20, 2012, that promoted tweets would be introduced to mobile devices. In April 2013, Twitter announced that its Twitter Ads self-service platform, consisting of promoted tweets and promoted accounts, was available to all U.S. users without an invite. On August 3, 2016, Twitter launched Instant Unlock Card, a new feature that encourages people to tweet about a brand in order to earn rewards and utilize the social media network's conversational ads. The format itself consists of images or videos with call-to-action buttons and a customizable hashtag. Advertising bans. In October 2017, Twitter banned the Russian media outlets RT and Sputnik from advertising on their website following the conclusions of the U.S. National Intelligence Report the previous January that both Sputnik and RT had been used as vehicles for Russia's interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Maria Zakharova for the Russian Foreign Ministry said the ban was a gross violation by the U.S. of free speech. In October 2019, Twitter announced it would stop running political ads on its ad platform effective November 22. This resulted from several spurious claims made by political ads. Company CEO Dorsey clarified that Internet advertising had great power and was extremely effective for commercial advertisers. The power brings significant risks to politics where crucial decisions impact millions of lives. In April 2022, Twitter announced a ban on misleading advertisements that go against the scientific consensus on climate change. While the company did not give full guidelines, it stated that the decisions would be made with the help of authoritative sources, including the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Technology and security. Implementation. Twitter places great reliance on open-source software. The Twitter web interface uses the Ruby on Rails framework, deployed on a performance-enhanced Ruby Enterprise Edition implementation of Ruby. In the early days of Twitter, tweets were stored in MySQL databases that were temporarily sharded. After the huge volume of tweets coming in caused problems reading from and writing to these databases, the company decided that the system needed re-engineering. From spring 2007 to 2008, the messages were handled by a Ruby persistent queue server called Starling. Since 2009, implementation has been gradually replaced with software written in Scala. The switch from Ruby to Scala and the JVM has given Twitter a performance boost from 200 to 300 requests per second per host to around 10,000-20,000 requests per second per host. This boost was greater than the 10x improvement that Twitter's engineers envisioned when starting the switch. The continued development of Twitter has also involved a switch from monolithic development of a single app to an architecture where different services are built independently and joined through remote procedure calls. As of April 6, 2011, Twitter engineers confirmed that they had switched away from their Ruby on Rails search stack to a Java server they call Blender. Individual tweets are registered under unique IDs called snowflakes, and geolocation data is added using RockDove. The URL shortener t.co then checks for a spam link and shortens the URL. Next, the tweets are stored in a MySQL database using Gizzard, and the user receives an acknowledgement that the tweets were sent. Tweets are then sent to search engines via the Firehose API. The process is managed by FlockDB and takes an average of 350 ms. On August 16, 2013, Rafi Krikorian, Twitter's vice president of platform engineering, shared in a blog post that the company's infrastructure handled almost 143,000 tweets per second during that week, setting a new record. Krikorian explained that Twitter achieved this record by blending its homegrown and open-source technologies, API and developer platform. Twitter is recognized for having one of the most open and powerful developer APIs of any major technology company. The Services API allows other web services and applications to integrate with Twitter. Developer interest in Twitter began immediately following its launch, prompting the company to release the first version of its public API in September 2006. The API quickly became iconic as a reference implementation for public REST APIs and is widely cited in programming tutorials. From 2006 until 2010, Twitter's developer platform experienced strong growth and a highly favorable reputation. Developers built upon the public API to create the first Twitter mobile phone clients as well as the first URL shortener. Between 2010 and 2012, however, Twitter made a number of decisions that were received unfavorably by the developer community. In 2010, Twitter mandated that all developers adopt OAuth authentication with just 9 weeks of notice. Later that year, Twitter launched its own URL shortener, in direct competition with some of its most well-known third-party developers. And in 2012, Twitter introduced stricter usage limits for its API, completely crippling some developers. While these moves successfully increased the stability and security of the service, they were broadly perceived as hostile to developers, causing them to lose trust in the platform. In July 2020, Twitter released version 2.0 of the public API and began showcasing Twitter apps made by third-party developers on its Twitter Toolbox section in April 2022. Innovators Patent Agreement. On April 17, 2012, Twitter announced it would implement an Innovators Patent Agreement which would obligate Twitter to only use its patents for defensive purposes. Open source. Twitter has a history of both using and releasing open-source software while overcoming technical challenges of their service. A page in their developer documentation thanks dozens of open-source projects which they have used, from revision control software like Git to programming languages such as Ruby and Scala. Software released as open source by the company includes the Gizzard Scala framework for creating distributed data stores, the distributed graph database FlockDB, the Finagle library for building asynchronous RPC servers and clients, the TWUI user interface framework for iOS, and the Bower client-side package manager. The popular Bootstrap front-end framework was also started at Twitter and is 10th most popular repository on GitHub. Interface. Twitter introduced the first major redesign of its user interface in September 2010, adopting a dual-pane layout with a navigation bar along the top of the screen, and an increased focus on the inline embedding of multimedia content. Critics considered the redesign an attempt to emulate features and experiences found in mobile apps and third-party Twitter clients. The new layout was revised in 2011 with a focus on continuity with the web and mobile versions, introducing Connect and Discover tabs, an updated profile design, and moving all content to the right pane. In March 2012, Twitter became available in Arabic, Farsi, Hebrew, and Urdu, the first right-to-left language versions of the site. As of August 2012, the site available in 33 different languages. In September 2012, a new layout for profiles was introduced, with larger covers that could be customized with a custom header image, and a display of the user's recent photos posted. The Discover tab was discontinued in April 2015, and was succeeded on the mobile app by an Explore tab which features trending topics and moments. In September 2018, Twitter began to migrate selected web users to its progressive web app, reducing the interface to 2 columns. Migrations to this iteration of Twitter increased in April 2019, with some users receiving it with a modified layout. In July 2019, Twitter officially released this redesign, with no further option to opt out while logged in. It is designed to further unify Twitter's user experience between the web and mobile application versions, adopting a 3-column layout with a sidebar containing links to common areas which previously appeared in a horizontal top bar, profile elements such as picture and header images and biography texts merged into the same column as the timeline, and features from the mobile version. Security breaches. A security vulnerability was reported on April 7, 2007, by Naish Danjani and Ruhith. Since Twitter used the phone number of the sender of an SMS message as authentication, malicious users could update someone else's status page by using SMS spoofing. The vulnerability could be used if the spoofer knew the phone number registered to their victim's account. Within a few weeks of this discovery, Twitter introduced an optional personal identification number that its users could use to authenticate their SMS originating messages. On January 5, 2009, 33 high-profile Twitter accounts were compromised after a Twitter administrator's password was guessed by a dictionary attack. Some of the compromised accounts sent falsified tweets, including drug-related messages. In May 2010, a bug was discovered by NCSoSLUK that could allow a Twitter user to force others to follow them without the other user's consent or knowledge. For example, comedian Conan O'Brien's account, which had been set to follow only one person, was changed to receive nearly 200 malicious subscriptions. In response to Twitter's security breaches, the United States Federal Trade Commission brought charges against the service. The charges were settled on June 24, 2010. This was the first time the FTC had taken action against a social network for security lapses. The settlement requires Twitter to take a number of steps to secure users' private information, including maintenance of a comprehensive information security program to be independently audited biannually. A mouse overexploit occurred on September 21, 2010, when an XSS worm became active on Twitter. When a user held the mouse cursor over blacked out parts of a tweet, the worm within the script would automatically open links and repost itself on the reader's account. The exploit was then reused to post pop-up ads and links to pornographic sites. The origin of the worm is unclear, but Piers H. Delphin and a Scandinavian developer, Magnus Holm, both claim to have modified a related exploit found by another user who was using it to create colored tweets. Kinyagawa, a Japanese developer, reported the XSS vulnerability to Twitter on August 14. Later, when he found it was exploitable again, he created the account Rainbow TWTR and used it to post colored messages. Delphin says he exposed the security flaw by tweeting a JavaScript function for onMouseOver, and Holm later created and posted the XSS worm that automatically retweeted itself. Security firm Sophos reported that the virus was spread by people doing it for fun and games, but noted it could be exploited by cybercriminals. Twitter issued a statement on their status blog at 1350 UTC that the exploit is fully patched. Twitter representative Carolyn Penner said no charges would be pressed. After a number of high-profile hacks of official accounts, including those of the Associated Press and The Guardian, in April 2013, Twitter announced a two-factor login verification as an added measure against hacking. On May 5, 2018, Twitter sent out an update/mail to every customer regarding a bug that stored passwords unmasked in an internal log. According to them, the investigation showed no indications of breach or misuse but recommended everyone to change their password anyway. On May 13, 2019, Twitter disclosed that they had discovered a bug that accidentally shared location data from iOS devices to an advertiser. They assured that the data was not retained and that the bug was fixed. On December 20, 2019, Twitter fixed a security vulnerability in its Android app that could allow a hacker to take over a user's account and send tweets or direct messages as well as see private account info. On July 15, 2020, a major hack of Twitter affected 130 high-profile accounts, both verified and unverified ones such as Barack Obama, Bill Gates, and Elon Musk. The hack allowed Bitcoin scammers to send tweets via the compromised accounts that asked the followers to send Bitcoin to a given public address, with the promise to double their money. Within a few hours, Twitter disabled tweeting and reset passwords from all verified accounts. Analysis of the event revealed that the scammers had used social engineering to obtain credentials from Twitter employees to access an administration tool used by Twitter to view and change these accounts' personal details as to gain access as part of a smash-and-grab attempt to make money quickly, with an estimated $120,000 in Bitcoin deposited in various accounts before Twitter intervened. Several law enforcement entities including the FBI launched investigations into the attack to determine the perpetrators over concerns of broader implications of such a hack in the future. On August 5, 2022, Twitter disclosed that a bug introduced in a June 2021 update to the service allowed threat actors to link email addresses and phone numbers to Twitter users' accounts. The bug was reported through Twitter's bug bounty program in January 2022 and subsequently fixed. While Twitter originally believed no one had taken advantage of the vulnerability, it was later revealed that a user on the online hacking forum Breached Forums had used the vulnerability to compile a list of over 5.4 million user profiles, which they offered to sell for $30,000. The information compiled by the hacker includes users' screen names, location, and email addresses which could be utilized in phishing attacks or used to de-anonymize accounts running under pseudonyms. Outages. During an outage, Twitter users were at one time shown the fail whale error message image created by Yiying Lu, illustrating 8 orange birds using a net to hoist a whale from the ocean captioned "Too many tweets. Please wait a moment and try again." Web designer and Twitter user Jen Simmons was the first to coin the term fail whale in a September 2007 tweet. In a November 2013 Wired interview, Chris Fry, VP of engineering at that time, noted that the company had taken the fail whale out of production as the platform was now more stable. Twitter had approximately 98% uptime in 2007. The downtime was particularly noticeable during events popular with the technology industry such as the 2008 Macworld Conference and Expo keynote address. User accounts. Verified accounts. In June 2009, after being criticized by Kanye West and sued by Tony La Russa over unauthorized accounts run by impersonators, the company launched their Verified Accounts program. Twitter stated that an account with a blue tick verification badge indicates we've been in contact with the person or entity the account is representing and verified that it is approved. In July 2016, Twitter announced a public application process to grant verified status to an account if it is determined to be of public interest and that verification does not imply an endorsement. Verified status allows access to some features unavailable to other users, such as only seeing mentions from other verified accounts. In November 2020, Twitter announced a relaunch of its verification system in 2021. According to the new policy, Twitter verifies 6 different types of accounts. For 3 of them, the existence of a Wikipedia page will be one criterion for showing that the account has off-Twitter notability. Twitter states that it will reopen public verification applications at some point in early 2021. Privacy. Twitter messages are public, but users can also send private direct messages. Information about who has chosen to follow an account and who a user has chosen to follow is also public, though accounts can be changed to protected, which limits this information to approved followers. Twitter collects personally identifiable information about its users and shares it with third parties as specified in its privacy policy. The service also reserves the right to sell this information as an asset if the company changes hands. While Twitter displays no advertising, advertisers can target users based on their history of tweets and may quote tweets in ads directed specifically to the user. Twitter launched the beta version of their Verified Accounts service on June 11, 2009, allowing people with public profiles to announce their account name. The home pages of these accounts display a badge indicating their status. On December 14, 2010, the United States Department of Justice issued a subpoena directing Twitter to provide information for accounts registered to or associated with WikiLeaks. Twitter decided to notify its users and said in a statement, "It's our policy to notify users about law enforcement and governmental requests for their information, unless we are prevented by law from doing so." In May 2011, a claimant known as CTB in the case of CTB v Twitter Incorporated took action against Twitter at the High Court of Justice of England and Wales, requesting that the company release details of account holders. This followed gossip posted on Twitter about professional footballer Ryan Giggs' private life. This led to the 2011 British privacy injunctions controversy and the super injunction. Tony Wong, the head of Twitter in Europe, said that people who do bad things on the site would need to defend themselves under the laws of their own jurisdiction in the event of controversy, and that the site would hand over information about users to the authorities when it was legally required to do so. He also suggested that Twitter would accede to a UK court order to divulge names of users responsible for illegal activity on the site. Twitter acquired Dascient, a startup that offers malware protection for businesses, in January 2012. Twitter announced plans to use Dascient to help remove hateful advertisers on the website. Twitter also offered a feature which would allow tweets to be removed selectively by country. Before, deleted tweets used to be removed in all countries. The first use of the policy was to block the account of German neo-Nazi group Bessers Hanover on October 18, 2012. The policy was used again the following day to remove anti-Semitic French tweets with the hashtag #UnBonJuif. In February 2012, a third-party public key encryption app for private messaging in Twitter, CRYP Tweet, was released. A month later, Twitter announced it would implement the Do Not Track privacy option, a cookie blocking feature found in Mozilla's Firefox browser. The Do Not Track feature works only on sites that have agreed to the service. Followed the sharing of images showing the killing of American journalist James Foley in 2014, Twitter said that in certain cases it would delete pictures of people who had died after requests from family members and authorized individuals. In 2015, following updated terms of service and privacy policy, Twitter users outside the United States were legally served by the Ireland-based Twitter International Company, instead of Twitter, Inc. The change made these users subject to Irish and European Union data protection laws. On April 8, 2020, Twitter announced that users outside of the European Economic Area or United Kingdom will no longer be allowed to opt out of sharing mobile app advertising measurements to Twitter third-party partners. On October 9, 2020, Twitter took additional steps to counter misleading campaigns ahead of the 2020 U.S. election. Twitter's new temporary update encouraged users to add their own commentary before retweeting a tweet, by making quoting tweet a mandatory feature instead of optional. The social network giant aimed at generating context and encouraging the circulation of more thoughtful content. After limited results, the company ended this experiment in December 2020. On May 25, 2022, Twitter was fined $150 million by the Federal Trade Commission alongside the United States Department of Justice for collecting users' phone numbers and email addresses for security, then using it to do targeted advertising. Twitter was also required to notify its users and is banned from profiting off of deceptively collected data. Harassment. In August 2013, Twitter announced plans to introduce a report abuse button for all versions of the site following uproar, including a petition with 100,000 signatures, over tweets that included rape and death threats to historian Mary Beard, feminist campaigner Caroline Criado Perez and the Member of Parliament Stella Creasy. Twitter announced new reporting and blocking policies in December 2014, including a blocking mechanism devised by Randy Harper, a target of Gamergate. In February 2015, CEO Dick Costolo said he was frankly ashamed at how poorly Twitter handled trolling and abuse, and admitted Twitter had lost users as a result. In 2016, Twitter announced the creation of the Twitter Trust and Safety Council to help ensure that people feel safe expressing themselves on Twitter. The council's inaugural members included 50 organizations and individuals. The announcement of Twitter's Trust and Safety Council was met with objection from parts of its user base. Critics accused the member organizations of being heavily skewed towards the restriction of hate speech, and a Reason article expressed concern that there's not a single uncompromising anti-censorship figure or group on the list. Twitter banned 7,000 accounts and limited 150,000 more that had ties to QAnon on July 21, 2020. The bans and limits came after Canon-related accounts began harassing other users through practices of swarming or brigading, coordinated attacks on these individuals through multiple accounts in the weeks prior. Those accounts limited by Twitter will not appear in searches nor be promoted in other Twitter functions. Twitter said they will continue to ban or limit accounts as necessary, with their support account stating, "We will permanently suspend accounts tweeting about these topics that we know are engaged in violations of our multi-account policy, coordinating abuse around individual victims, or are attempting to evade a previous suspension." In September 2021, Twitter began beta testing a feature called Safety Mode. The functionality aims to limit unwelcome interactions through automated detection of negative engagements. If a user has Safety Mode enabled, authors of tweets that are identified by Twitter's technology as being harmful or exercising uninvited behavior will be temporarily unable to follow the account, send direct messages, or see tweets from the user with the enabled functionality during the temporary block period. Jared Doherty, senior product manager at Twitter, stated that the technology in place within Safety Mode assesses existing relationships to prevent blocking accounts that the user frequently interacts with. Suspect and contested accounts. In January 2016, Twitter was sued by the widow of a U.S. man killed in the 2015 Amman shooting attack, claiming that allowing the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant to continually use the platform, including direct messages in particular, constituted the provision of material support to a terrorist organization, which is illegal under U.S. federal law. Twitter disputed the claim, stating that violent threats and the promotion of terrorism deserve no place on Twitter and, like other social networks, our rules make that clear. The lawsuit was dismissed by the United States District Court for the Northern District of California, upholding the Section 230 safe harbor, which dictates that the operators of an interactive computer service are not liable for the content published by its users. The lawsuit was revised in August 2016, providing comparisons to other telecommunications devices. Twitter suspended multiple parody accounts that satirized Russian politics in May 2016, sparking protests and raising questions about where the company stands on freedom of speech. Following public outcry, Twitter restored the accounts the next day without explaining why the accounts had been suspended. The same day, Twitter, along with Facebook, Google, and Microsoft, jointly agreed to a European Union Code of Conduct obligating them to review majority of valid notifications for removal of illegal hate speech posted on their services within 24 hours. In August 2016, Twitter stated that it had banned 235,000 accounts over the past 6 months, bringing the overall number of suspended accounts to 360,000 accounts in the past year, for violating policies banning use of the platform to promote extremism. On May 10, 2019, Twitter announced that they suspended 166,513 accounts for promoting terrorism in the July-December 2018 period, stating there was a steady decrease in terrorist groups trying to use the platform owing to its zero-tolerance policy enforcement. According to Vijaya Gadi, legal, policy and trust and safety lead at Twitter, there was a reduction of 19% terror-related tweets from the previous reporting period. As of July 30, 2020, Twitter will block URLs in tweets that point to external websites that contain malicious content as well or hate speech, speech encouraging violence, terrorism, child sexual exploitation, breaches of privacy, and other similar content that is already banned as part of the content of tweets on the site. Users that frequently point to such sites may have their accounts suspended. Twitter said this was to bring their policy in line to prevent users from bypassing their tweet content restrictions by simply linking to the banned content. Following the onset of protests by Donald Trump's supporters across the U.S. in January 2021, Twitter suspended more than 70,000 accounts, stating that they shared harmful canon-associated content at a large scale, and were dedicated to the propagation of this conspiracy theory across the service. The rioters that broke into U.S. Capitol Hill included a large amount of QAnon followers. Malicious and fake accounts. Between January and late July 2017, Twitter had identified and shut down over 7,000 fake accounts created by Iranian influence operations. In May 2018, in response to scrutiny over the misuse of Twitter by those seeking to maliciously influence elections, Twitter announced that it would partner with the non-profit organization Ballotpedia to add special labels verifying the authenticity of political candidates running for election in the U.S. In December 2019, Twitter removed 5,929 accounts for violating their manipulation policies. The company investigated and attributed these accounts to a single state-run information operation, which originated in Saudi Arabia. The accounts were reported to be a part of a larger group of 88,000 accounts engaged in spammy behavior. However, Twitter did not disclose all of them, as some could possibly be legitimate accounts taken over through hacking. In March 2021, Twitter suspended around 3,500 fake accounts that were running a campaign to influence the American audience, after the U.S. intelligence officials concluded that the assassination of the Washington Post journalist, Jamal Khashoggi, was approved by the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. These Saudi accounts were working in 2 languages, English and Arabic, to influence public opinion around the issue. Many accounts commented directly on the tweets of US-based media houses, including The Post, CNN, CBS News, and the Los Angeles Times. Twitter was unable to identify the source of the influence campaign. As of 2022, the top 3 countries spreading state-linked Twitter misinformation are Russia, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. Twitter bots. A Twitter bot is a computer program that automatically posts on Twitter. They are programmed to tweet, retweet, and follow other accounts. Twitter's open application programming interface and the availability of cloud servers make it possible for Twitter bots to exist within the social networking site. Benign Twitter bots may generate creative content and relevant product updates, whereas malicious bots can make unpopular people seem popular, push irrelevant products on users, and spread misinformation, spam, or slander. Bots amass significant influence and have been noted to sway elections, influence the stock market, public appeal, and attack governments. According to the company, there were 20 million, fewer than 5%, of accounts on Twitter that were fraudulent in 2013. Society. Usage. Daily user estimates vary as the company does not publish statistics on active accounts. A February 2009 Compete.com blog entry ranked Twitter as the third most used social network based on their count of 6 million unique monthly visitors and 55 million monthly visits. An April 2017 A Statista.com blog entry ranked Twitter as the 10th most used social network based on their count of 319 million monthly visitors. Its global user base in 2017 was 328 million. Protesters. Governments. Pornography. Child sexual exploitation. Terrorism. Impact. Instant, short, and frequent communication. Emergency use. Education. Public figures. World leaders. Religion. Censorship and moderation. Twitter is banned completely in Russia, Iran, China, and North Korea, and has been intermittently blocked in numerous countries including Egypt, Iraq, Nigeria, Turkey, Venezuela, and Turkmenistan on different bases. In 2016, Twitter cooperated with the Israeli government to remove certain content originating outside Israel from tweets seen in Israel. In the 11th biannual transparency report published on September 19, 2017, Twitter said that Turkey was the first among countries where about 90% of removal requests came from, followed by Russia, France, and Germany. Twitter stated that between July 1 and December 31, 2018, we received legal demands relating to 27,283 accounts from 47 different countries, including Bulgaria, Kyrgyzstan, Macedonia, and Slovenia for the first time. As part of evidence to a U.S. Senate inquiry, the company admitted that their systems detected and hid several 100,000 tweets relating to the 2016 Democratic National Committee email leak. During the curfew in Jammu and Kashmir after revocation of its autonomous status on August 5, 2019, the Indian government approached Twitter to block accounts accused of spreading anti-India content. By October 25, nearly 1 million tweets had been removed as a result. In March 2022, shortly after Russia's censorship of Twitter, a Tor Onion service link was created by the platform to allow people to access the website, even in countries with heavy internet censorship. Moderation of tweets. Birdwatch. Court cases and lawsuits. Twitter Incorporated v. Tamna is currently pending before the U.S. Supreme Court. Television. Twitter is increasingly used for TV to be more interactive. This effect is sometimes referred to as the second screen, virtual water cooler, or social television. The practice has been called chatterboxing. Twitter has been successfully used to encourage people to watch live TV events, such as the Oscars, the Super Bowl, and the MTV Video Music Awards. However, this strategy has proven less effective with regularly scheduled TV shows. Such direct cross-promotions have been banned from French television due to regulations against secret advertising. In December 2012, Twitter and Nielsen entered a multi-year agreement to produce social TV ratings, which are expected to be commercially available for the fall 2013 season as the Nielsen Twitter TV rating. Advertising Age said Twitter had become the new TV guide. Then in February 2013, Twitter acquired Bluefin Labs for an estimated $50 million to $100 million. Founded in 2008 at the MIT Media Lab, Bluefin is a data miner whose analysis tells which brands are chatted about the most in social media. MIT Technology Review said that Bluefin gives Twitter part of the $72 billion television advertising market. In May 2013, it launched Twitter Amplify, an advertising product for media and consumer brands. With Amplify, Twitter runs video highlights from major live broadcasts, with advertisers' names and messages playing before the clip. In October 2013, Comcast announced that it had partnered with Twitter to implement its See It feature within the service, allowing posts promoting programs on selected NBC Universal channels to contain direct links to TV Everywhere streaming to the program. On launch, the concept was limited to NBC Universal channels and Xfinity cable television subscribers. In an attempt to compete with Twitter's leadership in TV, Facebook introduced a number of features in 2013 to drive conversation about TV, including hashtags, verified profiles and embeddable posts. It also opened up new data visualization APIs for TV news and other media outlets, enabling them to search for a word and see a fire hose of public posts that mention it, as well as show how many people mentioned a word in both public and private posts during a set time frame, with a demographic breakdown of the age, gender, and location of these people. In January 2014, Facebook announced a partnership with UK-based social TV analytics company SecondSync, which saw the social network make its social TV available outside the company for the first time. Facebook struck the partnership to help marketers understand how people are using the social network to talk about topics such as TV. However, Twitter responded by acquiring SecondSync and Parisian social TV firm Macegraph 3 months later. These acquisitions, as well as a partnership with research company Kantar, strengthened Twitter's dominance of the second-screen TV viewers using tablets and smartphones to share their TV experience on social media. With the additional analytic tools, Twitter was able to improve the firm's offering to advertisers, allowing them to, for instance, only promote a tweet onto the timelines of users who were watching a certain program. By February 2014, all 4 major U.S. TV networks had signed up to the Amplify program, bringing a variety of premium TV content onto the social platform in the form of in-tweet real-time video clips. In March 2014, ITV became the first major broadcaster in the UK to sign up to Twitter Amplify, and Twitter introduced one-tap video playback across its mobile apps to further enhance the consumer experience. In June 2014, Twitter acquired its Amplify partner in the US, Snappy TV. In Europe, Twitter's Amplify partner is London-based Grabia, which has also struck numerous deals with broadcasters and rights holders to share video content across Facebook and Twitter. In July 2017, Twitter announced that it would wind down Snappy TV as a separate company, and integrate its features into the Media Studio suite on Twitter. Statistics. User accounts with large follower base. As of October 16, 2022, the 10 Twitter accounts with the most followers were: Record tweets. A selfie orchestrated by 86th Academy Awards host Ellen DeGeneres during the March 2, 2014, broadcast was at the time the most retweeted image ever. DeGeneres said she wanted to pay homage to Meryl Streep's record 17 Oscar nominations by setting a new record with her, and invited other Oscar celebrities to join them. The resulting photo of 12 celebrities broke the previous retweet record within 40 minutes, and was retweeted over 1.8 million times in the first hour. By the end of the ceremony, it had been retweeted over 2 million times. Less than 24 hours later, it had been retweeted over 2.8 million times. As of March 18, 2014, it has been retweeted over 3.4 million times. On May 9, 2017, Ellen's record was broken by Carter Wilkerson by collecting nearly 3.5 million retweets in a little over a month. The most tweeted moment in the history of Twitter occurred on August 2, 2013, during a Japanese television airing of the Studio Ghibli film Castle in the Sky. Fans simultaneously tweeted the word Bals, the incantation for a destruction spell used during its climax, after it was uttered in the film. There was a global peak of 143,199 tweets in 1 second, beating the previous record of 33,388. The most discussed event in Twitter history occurred on October 24, 2015, the hashtag for Tamang Panahon, a live special episode of the Filipino variety show Eat Bulaga. At the Philippine Arena, centering on its popular on-air couple Aldab, attracted 41 million tweets. The most discussed sporting event in Twitter history was the 2014 FIFA World Cup semi-final between Brazil and Germany on July 8, 2014. According to Guinness World Records, the fastest pace to 1 million followers was set by actor Robert Downey Jr. in 23 hours and 22 minutes in April 2014. This record was later broken by Caitlyn Jenner, who joined the site on June 1, 2015, and amassed 1 million followers in just 4 hours and 3 minutes. See also: Ambient awareness, breaking tweets, comparison of microblogging and similar services, timeline of social media, Twitter at Sure.